so our next speaker is none other than our Geshan Manandhar Dai, as we call in Nepali, which is our big brother. So he's been here about 5 years now in Sydney. Yeah. Right. So he's going to give us a brief overview of what he did and how he helped a lot of Nepali guys and how we became software engineers, basically. So yeah, let's give a round of applause for Geshan.
Communities are not produced by sentiment or mere goodwill. They grow out of a shared struggle. So this talk is going to be about a shared struggle of finding your first tech job. And this is a story, so it's not going to be much technical. And it starts with me being a GD and how I got some free GCP credits, which I applied to a side project, leading to at least 10 plus first-time tech jobs. I am Geshan Manandhar, a senior software engineer at Simply Wall Street. I like to call myself as a tech solution provider. I have been a GD since 2019. Yeah, 2019 for Google Cloud Platform, one of the GDG Cloud Sydney organizers. And yeah, I've been blogging since 2007. If you want to follow the slides, it's in that particular QR code. Yeah, that's what it's called. Yeah, before that, while you guys scan the QR code, how many of you here identify yourself as Nepali or having Nepali roots? Can I see a raise of hands? Not bad, not bad. Pretty good. Yeah, let's say given you have scanned the code, let's carry on. Yeah, as I said, I work for Simply Wall Street. We are a company that helps individual investors make confident long-term investment decisions. So basically, we do a lot of data analysis and data visualization for all the stock data. As far as I remember, we have data from 150,000 companies around the world or something like that. Yeah, so basically we have all the data from a lot of companies in regards to dividends and all the other things. So yeah, if you are a share investor or if you are thinking of investing in shares, please do visit Simply Wall Street. I am originally from Kathmandu, Nepal, and I think we have heard that enough till now. The only country with a non-rectangular flag, that's the flag of Nepal. Some other interesting facts, I guess you'd like, would be the Nepalese students are pumping a bit over $2 billion to the Australian economy. And it's not me, it's ABS who's saying that. As you can see, 2002 million is equal to 2 billion as per my calculation. And the other good thing is almost 90% of Nepalese students actually take work while they are a student. And my goal basically was to help these people who actually study tech, who spend like 33% of their life. By that I mean if you are 24 and you have spent 8 years studying and working in tech, so you have essentially spent 1/3 of your life in tech. But what happens is once they graduate, they still end up in casual jobs or some other jobs and not tech jobs. And that was a situation that I wasn't very happy of, let's put it that way. So yeah, this is a story about this. And yeah, this is where I talk about becoming a GD. That's a Google developer expert. If someone wants to know more about it, you can ask after this talk or outside when we go out. And yeah, that basically being a GD for GCP won me $500 US of GCP credit, which I used to start the AU Tech Jobs project. It's a side project. And it's a story about that. While doing that, the best practices that have been included in the project and a lot of other things that the student had learned, which led to at least the first breakthrough of one of the students getting a first full-time tech job and other successes that followed. Basically, towards the end, the main thing that I want to highlight is Community is always greater than technology. And let's see how all of that unfolds. So yeah, December 2019 is when I became a Google Developer Expert for Google Cloud Platform, GCP. That was the email, the official email that said I had become a GDE. And with that, in some days, yeah, I had actually got a $500 voucher for GCP, which is quite a bit of money. I don't need to change accounts now. So yeah, and with that, what happened was I started thinking, okay, I have this X amount of GCP. I'm not going to spend it on some GPUs or stuff like that. And I was thinking, okay, what should I use it in? And there was another idea that was at the back of my mind, even before getting that particular $500. So I was thinking of creating a job aggregator for Australia, mainly tech jobs. And I basically had a URL for that. And I said, OK, let's do this. This is something that's going to help a lot of people, both the people who work in it as well as the people who would visit the website or the app. Yeah. So what happened is I started recruiting people. Some people I knew. Some of them are here in the audience, as well as some other folks that I didn't know. I just pinged them on LinkedIn or anywhere I could find them. What I was doing was I was basically gathering people to realize this particular side project that I wanted to do. Now, if you think of why did I need more people, I could do it solo. But I had already done a solo side project circa 2019, 18-19. That's called Nepal News English. So it's a Twitter bot that aggregates news from right now 12 to 14 sources and has, I think, 14,000 followers, if not more. So I had already done a side project like just by myself alone. And the project I was thinking was not going to be a small one weekend, let's crash out or let's do out the MVP in a weekend. So that's why I needed more people. Right, and that's why I started gathering all the people that would agree to do it, and it would help me and or the project as well as themselves, because that would be their ladder to find their first tech job. Yeah, and while doing that, I was thinking of, let me think of the things that I have talked about, preached about, given talks about. And as you can see, 2015, I had talked about simplified Git flow, 16 about ChatOps, 2017 about continuous delivery, 2018 about microservices, and 2019 about serverless containers. So I said, yeah, I have preached enough about these things and used these things enough at work. Let's put all of these good practices into the side project we're going to do, because that's going to help everyone who's going to be involved in this project, which should basically be international students. And these kinds of things won't be taught in colleges or universities. So I put all of them in the project. So it had a project management with Trello. We didn't use OKRs, but maybe we could have at least introduced that. All the source code was in GitHub, and then we were following rigorously pull requests. Nothing was directly being pushed to master. Similarly, we are doing unit testing and continuous integration with GitHub Actions. We have heard a lot about GitHub Actions from Press as well. And yeah, and then there was continuous code quality checks as well with Code Climate. It has a free tier, and that's what we were using. Even the DNS and DDoS protection was managed by Cloudflare. Of course, as I had the $500, we were using MySQL on Google Cloud SQL. Similarly, the other technical best practices we were doing was everything was Dockerized and built with Google Cloud Build. So on every push or every pull request, there was a way to do that. I can show it later in the demo. All of it was pushed or is pushed to Google Container Registry, which is being replaced by a Google Artifact Registry pretty soon, within a year. It's already been deprecated, but yeah, that is what we're still using. And of course, serverless containers, because we didn't want to pay money, again. And then all of the website, the main website is actually hosted on Netlify, again for $0. And for the staging database, we are not paying money because we are using the free plan of PlantScale. And the other part was we are using Slack, because most of the students did not use Slack and or didn't have an idea of that. So once you go into a workplace, to a work environment, and let's say if you have never used Slack or Microsoft Teams or anything, I think you'll already be like one step behind because you have never used those kinds of tools. And I don't suppose universities or colleges would expose you to those kinds of things. So that was also a reason I use Slack for it. And inside Slack, we're using Hubot to deploy the apps. I can show you a demo of that, but no AI till now. If I want to integrate AI, it shouldn't be that difficult, but I don't think I'm going to do it as of now. So we were using, as I said, all of these things almost for free without burning any money, $0. And of course, the only thing that we were using was that $500 credit that I got being a GDE for GCP, right? So that was the main thing that was being spent. If you look at this, the architecture is pretty complicated, also because I deliberately used, or at least led to using microservices, because that would help the students or anyone who is involved with it understand the complexity of distributed systems. Even though with that, there are only 3 main parts on the system. One is the scraper that goes in and scrapes all the jobs from multiple websites. 2 is the backend, which is Node, not even TypeScript, it's vanilla Node with Express. And then 3 is the front end, which is a React app, but it is server-rendered with Razzle. Now, don't ask me why we use Razzle and not Next.js. That was a mistake. And then 3 years back, even now I say it's still a mistake, right? So as you can see, the architecture is a bit complicated, but very scalable. And because of that, I guess most of the students, it was overwhelming for them. But it was a deliberate, known decision, because that would make them learn new things. And because of that, I think it was a sense of overwhelm, but the thing was, it was a very fail-safe and psychologically safe environment. You could come in and ask anything. It was not just me, depending upon, because there were multiple students, and some of them had already worked in Nepal. So the people who had never worked in a job, they could ask things to people who had already worked, and of course, I was here almost all the time to answer any queries that they have. So now what happened with that is, even with all of that, they still did rise up from the pressure of learning, and a lot of them did succeed. So the pressures basically are actually of learning those new things and applying it. Because the thing is, once you get into the project, me or someone would actually go in and assign you a task on Trello, and it would be assigned to you, right? So anyhow, you would go in and knowingly, unknowingly taking help, you would get that task done. So that means you'd actually go into and learn the whole project management structure as well as all the code and stuff. So that means you had the pressure, but then if you could rise above the pressure, then you would surely succeed. This is one of the CVs of one of the students that worked for AU Tech Jobs. And of course, this guy is working as a software engineer right now. But as you can see here, for instance, it mentions code coverage, it mentions maintainability of code quality, like cutting down start time, Docker, and all of these things. If I see these words even for a software engineer or a junior software engineer now, I would most likely, if not hire them, at least get them for an interview. So these kinds of things, learning all of this really helped most of the people. I'm just putting this as an example. And with all of this, what happened was we got our first breakthrough. So SB from Brisbane actually got his first full-time tech job. He was working a casual job, I think, at an aged care or something, but he actually cracked his first full-time tech job after working in AU Tech Jobs for at least 5 or 6 months. Not full-time, of course, part-time contribution. And that led to other successes that followed. RG, who is amongst us right now, and AK and NS and SS. I'm just using the abbreviations of names just to keep things under the radar, let's say. So basically, yeah, after one person got the job, many other people also started getting jobs, full-time tech jobs. And then the other thing that actually played a very good part in this, which is, as I said, the part of the community feeling is people started referring the friends, and the friends who have worked with them, which is automatically the people who have worked in AU Tech Jobs. So GS pulled RG pooled. NP, so in the same org at one point, we had 3 people from AU Tech Jobs. Yeah, and then at one point, this was me basically attending all the reference check calls because most of those guys would put their names as reference over to me when they would pass the interviews and anyone asked for like a reference check, they would put my name, email, and number, and I would be taking a lot of reference calls from HR or like emails and then trying to reply to them. So to be honest, and this is like a very rough timeline, and of all the people that have the lives that have been changed by AU Tech Jobs and earlier, all the green boxes that you see are the people who got their first full-time tech job. If you scan that QR code, it will take you to this page, which is interactive. Basically, what I'm trying to say here is, if you work for a normal paying or just above minimum average paying casual job, and then you jump into a full-time tech role, which generally pays handsomely, even if you are a junior software engineer, I think it has the power to change your life. It really has the power to change your life. So that is why I had kept this log just for myself to see for the people who have been helped, and basically the lives that have been changed. And yeah, and the other thing at times people ask me is, so why do you do this, right? And this was one of the Slack messages I at least had a screenshot of, so it's at least 2 years back. So this guy had got his job. This was his second day on work, and that's where he says, yeah, it was like a dream. It was like a dream to me. It was like a dream to me. And then he also mentions stuff about like, because I had already used Kanban and these things that helped, as well as CI/CD was not completely new to me. So of course, all of these things, the things that we did for AU Tech Jobs, they actually helped people when they got, it's not only that they could pass the interviews, but when they got into an organization, they were already, let's say, a bit better or at a level of a junior software engineer or a software engineer, which was very rewarding. Similarly, another example, RG, who used to work at a supermarket, odd hours, 2020, COVID times, very risky, paid just above minimum wage, right? And then 2021, when he got the full-time tech job, easy life, full work from home, a lot safe from COVID. Even if it's there, you're not going out of work, right? You're still in your at your home, working 9 to 5, so you have more time to learn. You don't need to do 2:30 to 9:30 or 6:30 to 2:30, which are pretty odd, difficult hours. And of course, paid a handsome sum of money in the beginning, and that also increased after a year. So isn't that amazing? Like from just 1 or 2 years difference, and then what you had, and then what you have is pretty starkly different. Yeah, and yeah, right now AU Tech Jobs looks something like this. Has 1250 users. Even now, if you go in, there should be around 70 odd companies, 1600 odd jobs. To be honest, in this economic climate, this is useful for probably all of us, given all of our job security is is under the axe right now. No one knows what's going to happen. So yeah, just browsing around looking for jobs at one place from 70 odd companies should be helpful to almost all of us here. Yeah, and there's something that I wanted to show. It's a chatbot again. Yet another thing. Explorers is an amazing community, and then Pras talked about chatbots. We also have a chatbot. If you are a Nepali and you don't know DrySamal, then you don't deserve to be a Nepali. and the people who don't know DrySamal, basically he's one of the most popular actors, and I just had to name the bot something very recognizable. So I just named it DrySamal, and what I'm doing there is I'm just asking DrySamal to deploy the app called Jobs. The branch is master to the production environment, and then pardon the Nepali. It basically is deploying that Cloud Run service, and it says, hey, it's been deployed. You can test it here, and if you click that link, it will directly take you to that particular app being deployed, and it is one of the multiple microservices there are. It can do other things as well, like show logs from apps. If I want to integrate ChatGPT, that shouldn't be that difficult, but as I said, I'm not going to do it right now. The other things that you should notice in this particular screenshot or slide is there is builds, which basically has all the Google Cloud build logs being pumped in. Logs, of course, you can go in and say, show me the logs from backend or I don't know X service, and then it will show the logs. And the test builds is basically all the unit tests running on GitHub Actions. Yeah. So yeah, it has all the logs being pumped into Slack, and Slack basically becomes your main control panel to do anything that you want. And with this bot, so basically, even if you are traveling on a train and you want to deploy, it's easy. Type like 5 words, boom. Your deployment would be done. You don't need to be on a machine or anything. And you don't need to give access to any of the software engineers. The only access is the bot service user, and probably it could have a little more access than you need. Pras may not like that statement, but yeah. So basically, it can do things like this. And yeah, even till now, 8 exops runs for less than $1 a day. And I think the most cost is for the database, because that's the only thing that's running. Everything else is a serverless container, so only when you get the request, it actually bills you any money. Else, as you can see, it's still running at less than $1 a day. Yeah, this is a reality, a comic humorous reality, but still true, super true. So that particular boat is 8 exops after 3 years. Pretty old, still running, but a bit old. The person in the black is me, the boat driver, who is still trying to navigate the waters. And there is a subset of people who have already got their full-time tech jobs. Of course, everyone who worked in 8 tech jobs didn't get full-time tech jobs, but many got it. That's the yellow part of it. And me as someone leading the project or like being associated with the project after 3 years, I very well know this fact that forgetting the boat and the driver after crossing the river is very normal. I don't take any personal thing about that. So as I said, this is a fact that once they kind of graduated and got their full-time tech jobs, they gradually started to sideline the project, which I say is, I'm not complaining at it. It's just normal. But yeah, what has stayed strong, as I said, is the referrals, all the people associated with it. The community has really stayed strong, and we have helped each other a lot. If you want to read more, you can get the whole talk as a blog version in that link that's on my blog. And probably it's time to do a demo. Let me pray to the demo gods, and hopefully everything will be fine. So this is our Slack, as I just showed you. And yeah, I had opened a MR PR PR in the afternoon. That basically, I just added this GDG Meetup May 2023. Sorry for the small fonts. So yeah, I just made alive to this, right? And by default, this would show something like this. This is one of the APIs. Yeah, it just says alive. And as you can see, this is the PR. These are the tests that have run for it. Hopefully, all of my tests passed. It's been long, so I don't know if the test will pass. Yeah, I think the tests have passed. I have internet. Thankfully. So the tests have passed, and now if I go here and I ask DrySamal saying, "Hey, deploy me jobs," this particular branch, that's the branch of the PR. Right. So this particular branch to production. If I'm connected to the internet, it should happen. So that's it. That's how easy it is to deploy your application. Once you open your PR, what you do is you just go in here and you say, "Hey, Google Cloud build, please build my container." This goes into Google Cloud, builds your container. And once it is built, of course, you get a notification on here. Yeah, here. It says, yeah, your container has been built. Now you can go in and deploy. And deploying is basically one line here, wait for less than a minute, and you get it, right? And you might think I'm lying, but I'm not. So I just refresh, and the change is there, and that's how that's how easy it is to deploy. Yeah, probably what I need is at DrySamal, ChatGPT, deploy this. I don't know. That might be something I'll do a bit later. yeah, that's the demo. And yeah, one small thing. I think that's 10th of June. That's wrong because of the time zone. So 10th of June, Saturday, we are having Google I/O extended at Teachers, NSW Teachers Federation, Surrey Hills. Please come there if you want to attend this. And probably hear Pras again. I really like his talk, so maybe I'll go there just to listen to his talk. So yeah, and anyhow, this is happening on the 10th of June, Saturday, at that venue. Please come in. It's a full-day conference with 2 tracks, so this should be pretty interesting if you are interested in anything Google. And yeah, thank you. Welcome. Questions are, of course, welcome. And that's my LinkedIn profile if you want to scan in and add me on LinkedIn. Open for questions, technical and or non-technical. And all the questions are welcome.
Thanks, Geshan and Pras. Nice talk. For those who don't know, DrySamal is, think of him like a Chuck Norris for Nepal, right? Like he's a,
very good, yeah, very good.
A question for you I
Yes,
have
please.
for you is it's purely non-technical, right? Like, so what's next? Because like, where do you see this going? Like sustaining something like this with this sort of caliber, just purely on a volunteering effort. Like, I know it's going to be a challenge. So like, what's next for AUT?
Yeah, very good question. So yeah, Roshan called me Dai. Dai is basically big elder brother in Nepali, and basically in Nepal, even if you meet someone in the streets and if he looks older than you, you say Dai, can you show me the direction? So that's in our culture. Number one. Number two, for your question. So my idea was, at least towards 2021, 22, was to create more Geshan Dais, basically. All the people who have graduated or who have worked in AU Tech Jobs, once they are able to help the next generation of people flowing in. For instance, after the border has opened in 2021 December, yeah, like the Nepali population should have exploded here. So basically, all those people who have come into tech courses, be it like bachelor's, masters, and the people who have passed out and worked in AU Tech Jobs, if they happen to help that generation, I think that would be the future of it if I can do it. It has happened in bits and pieces, but I have not put time and effort to actually try to get a pipeline going in. Yeah, that's next, to be honest.
Anyone?
Yeah, I can take technical questions as well without issues.
Anything about GCP, Cloud Functions, chatbot, ChatGPT?
Yeah, not paying for Google Cloud.
Hi, another great talk. Thank you.
Thanks.
Just curious, like, how do you balance your time between your full-time job and this side project, and also does it make any like revenue?
Okay, revenue-wise, no, it doesn't make anything. In the beginning, we had plans to monetize it, but at least for the past 3 years, given it is not costing me anything, I have not even thought of, or we have not thought of getting any revenue out of it. In terms of time, it is a balancing act. It is difficult. I blog. I don't. AU Tech Jobs is not that active these days, to be very honest. But yeah, in terms of time, it is difficult. I am currently working 6:30 to 2:30. Yeah, but generally what I did, at least at the time, 2020, 2021, is most of us were indoors, so you had a bit more time, I would say. But yeah, to be honest, these days, yeah, just managing time. Yeah, I have some productivity habits, if not tips. I could give it to you later. Though.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Hi, Geshan. Thanks for your talk.
Thanks.
Felt good. So my question is, it's very non-technical. I would like to ask, at what point, like IT jobs, they're good, they're having good life, the people who are working in it, that's good. And at what point of time, let's say within the next 15 to 20 years, a normal IT job is going to become, a simple job? Like, when it's going to happen?
I don't have what is that called? The future seeing ball. But like even in 15, 20 years, IT jobs are never going to be simple. Especially like software engineering, DevOps, SRE, whatever you call it, jobs. They are not going to be they're not going to be simple and or easy, because information to a point is available. Like anyone can browse the internet, I don't know, go to YouTube, whatever, and then get the common minimum or basic things that they need. But the main difference maker is the experience that you have in the field. And that's difficult. It was in this exact stage probably a month back. Someone had an opinion of ChatGPT is gonna replace software engineers and stuff, and probably you are also alluding to that. But my basic answer to that was, like, writing software is just one part of it. Running software or operating software at scale is the most difficult thing. No ChatGPT or chatbot would know at 2 a.m. one goddamn service breaks somewhere. none of the bots are gonna have any clue on how to fix that. That requires, as I said, not only the information but the experience of putting off those fires earlier, and that's how you would be able to solve those things. So yeah, at least in my opinion, from what I've read, what I've researched about AI, I don't know if it's even AI. By the way, that's another story, because it is a calculator of words. That's how I see it as of now. But yeah, that's a different topic of discussion. But if I go back to your main question of 10 to 15 years, is tech job going to be easy? No. Every revolution has brought in more jobs than it has killed. So whatever the next revolution is there and is coming, it is going to bring more jobs. Having said that, one thing that I heard, I think in one of the podcasts, is machines are not going to replace people. People with machines are going to replace people. So make them your friend, basically. Anyone else?
Hi, great talk, and I like the mountain analogy, how you climbed up the top. I just had a quick question on when you first started with your idea of having the tech job aggregator. Why did you choose that? And because I think like Seek, Indeed, and all of those did exist. Did you have anything extra that you wanted to add?
Thanks. That's a very good question. Number one. Number two, Nepal has 8 out of the 14 highest mountains in the world. I forgot to mention that. That's why I had this the whole theme of mountain and mountaineering. So one of the features that AI Tech Jobs has that other side don't have, or probably will not have anytime soon, is this thing. So you can filter the companies that actually are known to provide work visas, because if you are a international student, basically not a PR or a permanent resident here, we all know how difficult it is to even get a person to see our resume. But these companies that you can filter from here, they are known to. No guarantees, of course, because some of the like recruiters I talked here say we provide work visa for senior plus engineers and stuff like that. But yeah, this is one of the unique features. Except of that, as I said, like I was not making this to disrupt Seek's business model or anything. I had very different, or we had very different goals out of this. Basically, the main goal was to get people who have studied tech or who have spent like 4 or 6 years of their life to get into a full-time tech job, keeping aside the other casual jobs that they had to do while they were a student. But in terms of features, this is one of the features that should differentiate it. Plus, there are other things, other smaller things. For instance, I don't know if it's still there. We had plans to send follow-up emails for applied jobs. And other thing, as far as I remember, for instance, this summary is also generated by another app. And if you go in here, it has that summary. So I mean, you don't need to read the whole job description. But as I said, like, many of these things were hit and trial, and I was not there to take what is Indeed's business. We have time. Go ahead.
Thank you for the talk. I probably ask something technical
Yeah, please
about
go
the
ahead.
scraper. So how often you run the scraper, and you know, the UI, sometimes they change the layout, and then I assume you have some scheduler or cron job, and then if it breaks, how can you realize that it's time for you to like change the scraper, that kind of things?
Yeah, so all of it runs free, number one. So this was Scraping Hub earlier. They rebranded into Zeit. And I run all of my scrapers here. Or we run all of our scrapers here. All the scrapers generally run between 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. Australian time. And I think, I'm not sure, but I have logs as far as I remember. So if something breaks, I should be getting some alerts from the logs. As far as I remember, I don't remember. All the crons have been scheduled by cron-job.com or something. That's also free. So as I said, like less than $1 a day, everything runs. If something breaks, as far as I remember, I think I get a notification. And yeah, and then that's the time to fix it if I or someone else has time. Else, yes, all the cron jobs are scheduled at least once a day, generally between 11 and 4 or 5 a.m. So whenever someone comes to the website, to the app the next day, they basically see the new jobs being scraped. But the good thing about this is, so there are basically 5 or 6 main ATS, application tracking systems. For example, Lever. Lever is used by Bright, is used by Atlassian, is used by Canva, blah, blah, blah. All the big names use Lever. So once we have a scraper for Lever, and then I want to scrape another website that uses Lever, then it's a lot easier. So it's not per company where the difficulty is. It's per, this is what Lever is. Yeah? It's per, sorry. Yeah. How do I make this? Oh yeah, here, Lever. Yeah, actually, this is an image, so it's not going to get bigger. So this is Lever, right? So Canva uses it, Atlassian uses it, Bright uses it, a lot of other companies use it. So once there is a base scraper for Lever, yeah, all of these 5 or 10 companies that use it, it's just another class on top of it, which basically has 2 lines of change, works. So that's the thing. And as I said, there are like just 5 or 6 main ATSs like Lever, and once we have base scrapers for there, so if anything for Lever breaks, it's going to break for all of these 10 companies, right? So it's a lot easier to find out in that sense. And as I said, as per my research in Australia, there should be maximum 10 to 12 major ATS systems, and once you have a template for 7 or 8, you basically cover 70 plus companies as it's here. More questions?
So one more question on the data side. Do you store in a persistent or just like some sort of non-SQL?
MySQL. Till now, it's MySQL. We don't have the money and time to invest into something like Redis. I could, like, if I really want, we could make this website twice as fast, but that means it needs another layer of caching, which is money, and it needs to run under $1 a day, so no. But yeah, I mean, if this was a more of a money-making project, and then like the app had to be fast, of course there would be some form of caching involved in it, probably, or like a Redis or something, or at least pay something to Algolia and make the. I mean, you could go a lot of ways from there, but as of now, all the data is just on MySQL. The cheapest MySQL instance possible. So that's why this app is not fast. But as I said, we know why it is not fast, and that's a deliberately known decision because of the cost. That's mostly it. We have time.
Hello, also thanks for the talk.
Thanks.
I just wanted to know, how do you deal with unexpected traffic increase?
Oh, great. So Google Cloud Run. As I said, like everything runs on Google Cloud Run. Let me see if I can open Google Cloud Console. Yeah, so everything runs in Google Cloud Run. Right now, even in production, again, to save money, we have deliberately made it lesser pods. Containers, it's called containers, not pods. I'll show it to you, so it's easier. So the thing is, Google Cloud Run is very, very scalable. If it can support IKEA, it can surely support my load. So by that, I mean, like, one, there are multiple services, microservices, whatever you want to call them. For now, let's just call them microservices. And this is the main backend, right? And if someone wants to go in and deploy this, by default, right now, I think it will have only 3 or 4. So very lean. 1 CPU, 256 MB of RAM. Every container, concurrency. Every container gets 1,000 requests maximum. Yeah. Concurrency, someone had a question of concurrency. And first generation, I could go to second generation. Right now, this only has maximum of 2 instances. Let's say if there is an increase in traffic, I can go to 200 instances, or 100 at least, fine. And they don't allow me more. But 100 instances is like, wow, 100 CPUs and 200, 56 into 100 RAM, which could be increased. I could scale up vertically and or horizontally, but yeah, I would like to scale horizontally more than vertically. And this would handle, I don't know, if not millions, surely thousands of requests per second, easily. Easily thousands of requests per second, which that app is not gonna get. Like when I used to work at the Iconic, like at one time we would see 300-400 users on every second. So that's roughly 300-400-500 RPS, right? And yeah, that is easily handled, with like 100 containers. Of course, surely. So yeah, I mean, even if the traffic increases crazily, it's very easy. You just go there, make the 2 into 20, look at the logs, because you have logs for everything, right? So you have traces. Prash has also shown this, but you have traces. And yeah, don't scream at me for the traces, because they would be very slow, and I know why they are slow, right? But yeah, I have traces, I have everything, I have the errors, I have logs. So if this was a real project, like Google Cloud already provides so much of built-in. I had to do nothing to get all of this, by the way. As soon as it runs on Cloud Run, I get the traces for free, I get the logs for free. And yeah, I mean, if that was the case, I would just see that, make that number go high, and then just look at the traffic. That's mostly it. Which reminds me of fond memories of having to wake up at night. But yeah, let's keep that story for some other day.
Any other questions, guys?
Probably one more question. Yeah. While that happens, I can show you the logs, by the way.
Hi.
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
I just thought it's really impressive what you did with this. It's inspiring.
Thanks.
I wanted to ask, on the flip side of using Google Cloud Services, you said the microservice architecture was overly complicated.
Yep.
Did you find that that was difficult to deal with, or what kind of problems did that bring if it was too much for this problem?
Sure. Yeah, so as I said, the microservices for an app that has, right now, even after 3 years, 1,500 users, of course, it is a overcomplication, but a known thought after overcomplication. Like, there were multiple issues. For instance, as you can see, there are already 7 or 8 services, right? Let's say if a library is used in Expirer as well as in jobs, they are pulled in from NPM differently. Like, this is not a monorepo or something that has central thing. So that was one of the things. Reusable code, not really. Some other known defects that we have introduced is, for example, auth doesn't only happen on auth. Some parts of auth is propagated into jobs as well, because we just wanted to share the JWT cookie and get things done. We didn't want to make a call to auth every time. Speed, blah, 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 HTTPS. So yeah, like a lot of things have been done in some ways, but it's a known trade-off. In technology, most of the things are trade-offs, but yeah, they were known, deliberate, thought-after trade-offs. But yeah, for microservices, as I said, one, this could be, I mean, it could easily be a monolith with two parts, the app and the scraper done. right? If you just want to oversimplify it and just make it work. But yeah, as you can see, there are at least how many? 8 or 10 services. For instance, there is a summarizer that just goes in and gets that like 1,000, 2,000 word text and makes it just 500 words, blah, blah, blah. That just calls another service to do that. So there are lots of things like that. And yeah, one of the issues was code reuse. Yeah, and then like general complexity of things, you know. So if something is as complex as this, what happens is, yeah, people just say, okay, don't put me in the backend, please. I'm not going to understand this. Just give me some React. I'm going to write React, even if they know how to write Node, because that is complicated. But the thing is, when you actually land in a job and you deal with legacy and/or old systems, 5-year plus old systems, you are going to face things like that, you know. So the more you get acquainted or used to the real life scenario, I guess the better it is.
So one last question, I guess.
Yes, please.
Yeah, thank you for the great talk. I was wondering if you plan to integrate more, advanced AI into one of your projects. Do you think it's manageable to still keep it cost efficient in some way, and how would you go about that?
Okay, so in that sense, I think first thing I think I would ask, or anyone would need to ask, is same question of buy or build. If it's a build, AI models are not easy and expensive. Not cheap to train. Yeah, that is number one thing that you need to know. Now, if you build, if you buy, then basically it's like how much does your provider charge? For instance, the summary that I was saying, that is a build. I think I used a BERT. I think there's something called a BERT, like summarize in Google. I basically used that. It wasn't even Dockerized. I Dockerized it. I made it run. That Docker is like a 2 GB Docker file. It does a whole lot of things. I could not simplify it anymore, but it's still there. It works. The summarizer I show you. But so there is something that this thing does. I don't know if it's here. Yeah, BERT. Yeah, here. Classify. There is an app called uClassify. I think it's uclassify.com. And that API, basically, if you send it text, it gives you a percentage of computers, how much technical it is. And that's how I think we show something like this. This is saying that it might not be a pure tech job. So the computer percent for this particular job description is low. I think if it's less than 60%, it shows you that. And basically, we use an API to get that number, right? So that's a buy. We're just buying it, even though the API is free and it has 500 calls or something per day. So again, coming back to your question, first decision, build or buy. Build, you'll need to plan. It's going to be expensive. Buy, then it will depend upon the number of requests you send to, I don't know, OpenAI or Bard now, which is Palm 2 for Google. I don't know. There would be a lot of providers. I think Hugging Face is also doing their own cloud service. I guess so. So I mean, that would be the way to go for it.
Thank you.
Last one. We have time for last one.
Last one. Okay. Any last questions, guys? No. Okay. I think that's all. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Let's give a big round of applause for Geshan. And yeah, I think that concludes our meetup for today. We have foods, drinks, and place to hang out around. Yeah, just enjoy, guys. That's all. Thank you.